Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Sam Gabriel here, and welcome to What If Deku Could Manipulate Gravity, Part 3. Just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat, so we begin. Panicked screams and worried mumbles thrashed down the corridor as the wave of students crammed into the hallway. Just moments ago, Izuku was eating lunch with his and Bakugo's new friends, Kirishima Mina and Denki, when chaos broke loose. Everything was happening at once, and nothing seemed to make sense. What's going on? Denki's yell was lost in the noise as his best friend joined. I don't know! They were thrown into the waves and were not the only ones as Izuku was shoved to the side. In the midst of trying to stop Bakugo from detonating people's heads off as they barged past, the Greenette saw Uraraka and Ida trying to hold hands. They were too far away from each other, though, and the freckled boy was about to turn away when he saw their expressions. Wait, that's not it. Decreasing the gravity to his own body, Izuku jumped up over the students and somersaulted his way to the two. Freckled arms extended as he got closer, ready to grab both outstretched limbs. Midoriya? Go! Yanking the two together, Uraraka immediately activated her quirk. Ida started to float, and with a puff from his engines, he spun to the front of the crowd. Hollering at the top of his voice, the bespectacled boy managed to tame the panic as it turned out the intruder was only the press, nothing more. Well, that was a waste of my time, Bakugo scoffed as he reunited with his best friend, who lifted a hand to his mouth. A face of false shock painted itself onto the freckled cheeks, and Izuku gasped, Why? Were you scared? Why you? Small sparks crackled in the blonde's palms as he chased the Greenette all the way back to the classroom and apart from that ordeal. The rest of the day was back to normal. That was for the students, at least, as a small buzz had started among the staff. The kids wouldn't know, but from their head teacher's point of view, the press incident had been a disguise for someone's announcement of war against heroes. The bus ride over to the U.S.J. was just as lively as one would expect if you jammed 18 kids into one space with freedom to do whatever. Since no one had really established any friendship bonds as of yet, the kids wasted no time introducing themselves to each other, and groups started to form. One side were the relatively calm students such as Ida, Uraraka, and Koda. The three were getting along as they got corrected by Asui to call the frog girl Tu. Their gentle conversations made the air around them seem fluffy and kind, a complete contrast to the other side of the bus, where it was the definition of chaos. Bakugo was being restrained by Kirishima as Denki and a boy with tape for arms called Serohanta teased the blonde for his flaming crap mixed with garbage attitude. You're gonna regret the day you applied to this school, you loser! Mina was casually dodging the occasional toss of tape as she rapidly fired questions at Izuku, who was drinking water and answering. So, what do you do in your free time? Write notes and experiment with my quirk, I guess. What's your favorite thing to eat? Easy, got it on. What about, won't you shut up already? How about no? You want to go, Planetoid? Gravitoid is just making friends. Stop speaking in third person! Gravitoid is hurt. You! Shut up, we're here. Aizawa's voice interrupted all conversations, and everyone got off the bus. Even if their outside voices were hushed, everyone was evidently excited as they restlessly looked at the two heroes Aizawa walked them toward. They didn't agree on everything, but there was one thing two certain fanboys had in common. I can't believe All Might is going to supervise us! The number one stood beside the rescue hero 13 as the spacesuited woman explained the importance of not misusing quirks. Uraraka was literally glowing with happiness as she listened to one of her favorite heroes and was chatting with Asui when the U.S.J. doors opened. Just like that, their day began. What's that? Kirishima, who was with the duo following All Might's heels, questioningly looked at a man walking out into the central plaza. He had emerged from a purple-black portal that expanded for more people to pour out of. All Might immediately glanced toward Aizawa as the redhead spoke. Is this like the entrance exam where the test has already started? Get back! Get back! The students immediately listened to Aizawa as the underground hero put on his goggles. Those are actual villains. But do not fear, children! Stand back and let the pros take care of this! All Might immediately rushed toward the first one who appeared out of the portal, and Eraserhead followed suit to knock out the others who tried coming up the stairs. What the hell is that? Izuku's eyes widened as they settled on a monstrous thing that came to intercept his hero. It had an exposed brain and a horrifying beak with teeth pulled into a hideous grin. Oh, God. The senses were not working. Villains flooded the central plaza. All Might was in a battle against that thing, and the children were greeted by the Mist Villain. Apologies for the late introduction. I am Kurogiri from the League of Villains, the organization created to see the end of All Might. Die! Bakugo came barreling forward with Kirishima as Izuku tried to stop the blonde. The greenette already figured the mist person's quirk was something to do with teleportation, and touching the purple-black substance was not a good idea. The rescue hero couldn't activate her quirk as the kids got in the way. If she did, they could die. Seeing this as an opportunity to attack, a wicked laugh escaped the mist. And now you will all meet your deaths. With 13's worried cry being the last thing they heard, the majority of the class were enveloped in the mist, and when Izuku opened his eyes, the greenette found himself in one of the rescue zones. Where the hell are we? Casually brushing off the dust from his gauntlets as he looked around, Bakugo took a deep breath. As much as he was pissed, now was not the time to be angry. In fact, he knew that his irrational decision was probably the reason the class was split in the first place. Collapse zone, Kacchan. You can't be that slow, right? Yeah, whatever. For now, they needed to get out of there. Well, for the looks of things, the villains here aren't strong. Wait, here? Kirishima, who had kept quiet until that point, looked around, and the blonde pointed at Izuku. Planetoids increased gravity in the direction away from us. They're just outside the room. Even our class can handle this much. The only real threats were the handyman, mist crap, and that thing. So, since when do you act so calm and rational? Usually you're all like, Die! 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 I'm always calm and rational, you red-haired loser! Yeah, and he's back. Now, get rid of them, will you, Kacchan? You're being so slow that I might get tired. The human grenade stopped his yelling toward the redhead and grinned as he stomped toward one of the doors. Don't have to tell me twice! Meanwhile, everyone found themselves in similar situations and could dodge most of the incoming attackers. The ones left at the entrance, however, had to deal with Kurogiri, but in the end, Uraraka managed to touch the metal neck support she saw. That brief moment allowed Ida to escape, and everything was starting to look up. Asui had found herself alone in the shipwreck zone, but luckily for her, she was suited for the terrain. She had a few scratches, but it wasn't something she couldn't handle, and so the frog girl quickly found herself wading in the shallow waters at the end of the shipwreck zone. Finding herself near the central plaza, she decided to stay out of her teacher's way and silently try to get to the stairs. I am the symbol of peace! The area was forcefully cleaned from the impact of All Might's punch as more air-shattering blows followed. The Nomu could keep up, and the hand villain was letting out a sickening laugh. Tomura Shigaraki. The mist appeared next to the one with pale blue hair and gave him a status update. 13 is out of commission, but one of the students has escaped. Kurogiri. Uraraka ran to the edge of the stairs to see what had happened when she saw her newly made friend trying to sneak past Shigaraki. She didn't say anything, so the frog girl wouldn't get caught as the villain in question started having a small temper tantrum. It quickly calmed down as spontaneously as it started, as bone-chilling red eyes stared down his target. No matter. All Might is still fighting my Nomu. The symbol of peace grinned as he was engaging in a never-ending volley against the monster. You said his quirk was shock absorption, right? That means there's a limit! The groundbreaking punches became a mighty blur as the mist villain faced his leader. We must leave soon. Okay. Master warned me already, but for now. Listen to these words, villain! All Might pulled his fist back as he got ready to win his fight. Everything was starting to look up for the heroes, and Shigaraki wanted to at least ruin something. A dry hand pointed in a direction the heroes couldn't see before dashing toward Eraserhead. The sound of Plus Ultra rang in everyone's ears, but one. Kill her. No! Uraraka's heart-wrenching scream pierced the air as the brunette's eyes widened with horror. She was the only one who saw it happen. No one else knew. All Might was too far away to see it, and Aizawa had been preoccupied with the oncoming Shigaraki. What the zero-gravity girl saw was her new friend's torso coming clean off in the hands of Kurogiri. Two! Tears streamed down her face as All Might punched the Nomu through the roof. Ida returned with the heroes, who immediately retrieved the children, but before the sound of victory could envelop the brunette, Uraraka activated her quirk on herself and jumped from the top of the stairs. How could She hurled herself directly for Kurogiri, voice trembling with anger as she got closer, but the mist man saw her approach. He expanded toward her as Ida ran to see what happens to his best friend. The rest of the class who made it back up the stairs were now out of the building, with the bespectacled boy being the only one refusing to leave. What's this? Midair, the brunette thrashed about, trying to aim punches and kicks to the metal within the mist. Like a rag doll, Uraraka's body was slammed into the ground through the gate, and pain shot up her right leg. The angered one could feel that the muscles in her ankle were torn, but she didn't care. She wanted revenge. Why? Getting up and ignoring the pain, Uraraka floated herself upward to once again try and defeat the mist villain. Once again, she was thrown down, but this time the girl screamed as she could feel that her leg was broken. In pain but blinded by fury, the brunette slapped herself to force her body to float. She felt like throwing up, and the world was starting to spin, but she only had one thought on her mind. Who? All Might finished making sure the Nomu wouldn't come back, and turned to see one of his students fall from the sky. Kurogiri had expanded into her path the exact same way he did with Asui, although the hero had yet to notice that the frog girl was dead. Damn it, I won't make it. Am I going to? Uraraka was going to fall into his gate when... Die! Bakugo came crashing through the sky and barrel rolled directly into the mist villain, his hands blasting for the metal piece. Unfortunately, Kurogiri teleported himself out of the way to stand by Shigaraki. Damn it! I wanted to kill him with my own hands. Oh, that doesn't sound very heroic. Uraraka, what's wrong? They had taken the long way to help other classmates to the stairs, which was why they were taking a while, but this was not the scene Izuku had expected. But surely with All Might there, the symbol of peace, the #1 hero, everything would be okay. Right? The teary-eyed girl landed safely on the floor as she looked past the boys. Her leg was broken, and the ankle of the other was starting to swell. Even though her physical pain was nothing to scoff at, it was incomparable to the pain in her mind. All Might stood between them and the 2 league members when the brunette started to shake. Her hands grabbed at her hair, causing the usually cute round bob to become disheveled and knotted. Her eyes glared at the #1. Why couldn't you get here sooner? Ida had run after her when the girl made her descent, but he still didn't know what was going on. He tried his best to calm down his classmate who yelled at All Might when her trembling hand pointed past them all. She... They turned to see what she pointed at, and everyone froze. There was a body half hidden with reeds and floating with the gentle tides, and it was finally coming together. Split in half, with blood spilling into the water. Asui was dead. The symbol of peace, who had stood tall, faltered a little as he saw the student. Oh? Shigaraki's lips were pulled into an unnerving smile as he gazed upon the hysterically crying girl. From killing one student on a whim, he caused students to turn on his target, but that wasn't what pleased the sickening man. What he took pleasure out of were 2 certain wide-eyed boys. They oozed confidence just moments ago, yet now they had a look of abandonment, the look of betrayal as they stared at their hero, and the symbol's face of momentary weakness. Society will fall. Kurogiri's body wrapped itself like an ominously fluttering cape around the monologuing man as he started to disappear. Your end is near, All Might, starting with... Ah! Shigaraki groaned in pain as a bullet went through his leg. The portal enclosed around him, and he didn't get to finish his speech, but strangely, the man-child didn't mind. The TV before him crackled as the decaying fingers grabbed at the wound, blood pooling out and onto the wooden floor. Did something good happen? A bone-chilling voice welcomed the young leader, who grinned. I changed my mind, Master. Standing up on the bleeding leg, Shigaraki faced the source where his master's voice came from. Killing All Might is still my goal, but... The dry hands grabbed and scraped against the scarred neck of the hand villain. I want to torment him first. Maybe kill those brats one by one.
See if that stupid smile of his will break.
Yellow teeth bit against the chapped lips as he grinned.
And those two brats, for all might, I want them both.
Society had already been shaken once, and the UA staff knew that another low punch at this time would crumble the trust that took years to build. It wasn't the best decision emotionally, but Asui's death just couldn't be made public. It was cruel, but in a society-opinionated world, that was just how it is. That was just how it was. Recovery Girl had fixed the brunette's broken bones and muscles, but not even Ida could help her heart. The Azurette had to carry the sobbing girl, and in the end, Uraraka had spent the rest of the day when her friend had died, within the safety of the Ingenium Agency. With both the brunette's parents as well as the rest of the Asuis invited to his family home, UA staff gently broke them the news. It was hard, no doubt about it. For everyone involved, the news was heartbreaking. Even if it was a little easier, as All Might himself was the one who said it with his head bowed down, relief in times of grief only made more tears flow. The family understood that even All Might could make mistakes, so after hours of pain, they genuinely did forgive the hero. Even the two bawling siblings sensibly nodded with their parents as all of UA's staff bowed deeply. No words could be said, but their actions were appreciated. Since most of the class had been outside when Uraraka pointed out the body, only a few actually knew of what had happened. The press was told of the attack, so the kids outside got to be on live television with an interview, but that was all a cover for the truth. The funeral would be held the next day, and as such, Nezu canceled school for the rest of the week. Only those who knew would attend, and since the family didn't want to move, the event would be held within the Ingenium Agency.
I know it hasn't been long since I met Sue. And
Eyes puffy and sleeves visibly soaked in tears, Uraraka stood before everyone as the last one to speak. Everyone else had given their wishes to the coffin before them, and the brunette was a mess.
I'm sorry.
Her first words were an apology as she tried to get her thoughts sorted.
I saw Sue trying to sneak past that villain, so I kept quiet so she wouldn't be caught. But
Her big round eyes glistened with tears as she trembled with regret.
I just wish I did something.
Her hoarse and broken voice held more weight than her words as she gazed from her parents to Asui's family.
I knew that becoming a hero had these risks, and I knew death was going to be part of the job. I just wanted to become a hero so my parents wouldn't suffer. And last night, I thought about it a lot, actually. I thought really, really hard because at that point,
She bit her pink lips as she tried to compose herself, albeit in vain as her shoulders shuddered with emotion.
I wanted to drop out. Just forget it all. Be someone normal, get a job. Not worry my parents and let others deal with it.
She paused as she clenched a fist. A small smile made it onto her tear-soaked face as she slowly exhaled.
But I'm not.
Her chocolate eyes turned to the UA staff, then to the Idas, and after a brief moment, to everyone else, such as Izuku, Bakugo, and Kirishima, who had all been present.
I'm not. Because I remembered why Tsu wanted to be a hero. She said she did it for her family. Just like me.
The two young siblings held hands as they nodded. With their parents busy, their older sister, Tsuyu, was the one to look after them.
If it weren't for some others, then I wouldn't be here, you know? Yesterday I might have died too.
She wiped her tears away as she continued.
Heroes exist to prevent these deaths. Heroes are there so I can be standing here saying this today. And heroes train so another family wouldn't be upset. I know it's selfish of me, but Mom, Dad. She turned from her classmates and bowed deeply to both her parents and the family of her dead friend. Not just for me, but for Tsu, too. She kept facing the ground until two pairs of small arms wrapped around her, and the brunette looked up to see that the two siblings had run to hug her. They were the children that her friend died to become the hero of, and almost like a torch, she felt that the responsibility was passed to her. More tears welled up as she crouched down and hugged the two kids close to her. Please, let me be that hero. The rest of the family got up to join their children in hugging the brunette, and Uraraka looked up to see her mother crouching down before her. Her father had a comforting arm around the woman, and they each held a hand out. Oh, Chaco. The brunette daughter slowly lifted her hands and rested them in her parents' palms, tears falling from every Uraraka's eyes as they were pulled into the hug. Everyone held still for a moment before Ochako's father spoke. We'll support your decision. Just please. He patted her back worriedly. Promise us you'll look after yourself, too. Our hearts broke when we heard about your attempt at revenge, you know. I know it hurts, but it hurts more to know you almost threw your life away. Please don't do that again, okay? Uraraka smiled as she nodded. Her tears were everywhere and her skin was tinted red from bloating, but she didn't mind. She got the resolve she wanted and promised she would never let go. I promise. The weekend was rough, as Nezu ordered for dorms to be made. The staff would be going around to ask for parent permissions the week later as students were told to start packing. Have you made your decision yet? The head teacher faced Toshinori, who looked down at his small pile of papers. If you don't choose a successor soon, who knows what we can make of our future? The symbol of peace nodded, pulling one out and putting it aside. Young Uraraka was someone I wanted as a candidate, but I don't want to overburden her with responsibility. She will grow up to be a fine hero one day. Sipping a cup of tea, Nezu nodded as he remembered the end of the funeral. The brunette was pressured. As she was already from just taking on a single girl's wishes, she was not ready for the weight of Japan. How about Mirio? He's recently been named to the top of UA. I've recommended him once before, have I not? All Might nodded as he looked at the 3 sheets of paper he originally carried. I will speak to him then, along with young Bakugo and young Midoriya. Their actions yesterday cannot be overlooked, as they went jumping around the facility rescuing their classmates. The sports festival is coming up soon, so you might want to hurry it up, All Might. We don't know what the League might plan next, so we can only prepare. The symbol of peace nodded thoughtfully. The only reason he could fight the Nomu despite helping the city for 3 hours prior was because he hadn't given away One for All. The city needed its symbol and someone to keep the villains at bay when he retired. The world needed a new pillar, especially with the rise of the League. They couldn't be ignored. The time had come for him to find his successor. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye and have a divine day.